Just fucking do it. Subscribe now.
The guys that I bid against for the fuel contract are still bidding. I mean, they're still there. They have offices in D.C. I mean, you can make a lot of money. And the government's always overpay. Wrongfully, yeah.
Are these contracts required as an open book? So they want to see, how much you're billing?
No.
Okay.
Well, I can only speak my own experience. All I did is I bid $1.05 for the JP4 and $1.06. This is a gallon for the JP5, and it was costing me $1 and $1.01. So I was making roughly a nickel spread a gallon times 82 jillion, and those nickels add up pretty quick. And then I got my foreclosure notice just about the same time, or just a little before I got that contract. Danny, give me that. You didn't show it to your mother, did you? Give me that card. But I mean, it is, and very few people. I think it's easier here in the UK. I just do. I'm not saying that because they're dumb or anything. But in the U.S., there's a plethora of sources to get contracts from the municipality, city, county, state. There's all kinds. And part of the Goomba brothers, they didn't bring that up. They bid on some of the maintenance of some of the government buildings. But if you're just white and male, that means shit. But if you're got a different ethnicity or you're a gal, it's easy. Yeah.
I haven't heard
They have contracts in Switzerland.
I haven't heard that this is possible and how it's done before, so I have...
Well, I mean, the cantons they bid out, and I would imagine, because my experience in Switzerland is bureaucratic as hell. I mean, it's almost like, you got to give me a reason why I'll give you the free form, get the free form on the internet. What do you bother me for? I mean, that's the kind of attitude. But I had a mentee about 5-6 years ago that rolled up tax services, small independent tax services that were different from the big accounting firms. And he was an American from Alaska, but had lived there and married. He's been there for a jillion years. He rolled up. He's exited now. He exited and sold out to, I want to say Deloitte, maybe. And he made, I don't know, 50 million Swiss francs. But, I mean, you should at least look at it. Some places it's easier, yes, sir.
In the webinar, Marcus mentioned a sheet with the industry margin.
One small Malaysian beat to death tonight. Okay. We pass that. And now this is, we normally don't show this when we're online. This is secret sauce. That's no place that I have ever found. This is a penultimate draft, that means next to last draft, of a quality of earnings report from a major accounting firm on a healthcare deal. It's one of the deals that I personally was in. And it shows you where you stand on a gazillion items that they check. The banks will want a quality of earnings. The accountants will do the banks will probably do their own quality of earnings. These are our bigger deals. 3, 4, 5, 10 million, not 1,500, 1.5 or anything like that. And then the accountants will do it. But when they start the quality of earnings, You tell them, if there's any, even amber flags, if anything doesn't smell right, tell me now. So you don't waste 50, 80, 200 grand in doing it and then tell me. This one passed. This was the second to the last report. And he'll pass them out. And then when Marcus was here, we didn't have any of this shit when I came through. And he's come through 7 times. We only started this about 4 years ago. And so, because I continue to try to give you as much material that's legal to help you, ascertain, get a deal done. And I said the first day, you really just want me to go get the deal done for you and sit with you, but I don't do that. This is a snapshot. The other one is a snapshot of industries, what the generally accepted EBITDA spreads are. And the ones, I would only focus on the ones that are low EBITDA spreads. I mean, because you're pissing in the wind, if you're not putting up any money, and you have no equity portion, you're just wasting your time. And some people won't even talk to you. Now, you asked me about, little Romanian guy asked me about proof of funds. Okay. Well, when you get up into the, 20, 30 times EBITDA, they want, not just because you say you have a proof of funds, they want to talk to the banker. Is it in his account? How much money? We need $87 million in equity. The guy's got, he's overdrawn $400, so that's not what you're going to hear. So, it's pretty straightforward. Now, you're also going to get our quality of earnings report, which is basically 100 questions. And your lawyers will have a quality of earnings, and your lawyer's quality of earnings will be bent towards legal issues. This one is bent towards cash flow and whether you can produce the earnings again based on what you told somebody. In other words, can you meet the debt service going forward? That's what it really should say, the name of the report. Because it's really not earnings. It's a derivative of cash flow. But anyway, that's more information you need. Any questions? Yes, sir.
How does the government contract strategy fits into the plain vanilla QLA rollout?
Oh, no, to get started so you don't starve to death in the beginning.
What?
To get started and don't starve to death in the beginning. It gives you a means of cash flow. It has nothing to do with fucking fuel. Well, I won't say that. I started this way, and then I pivoted, I guess, into QLA. But if you're not eating, and you can't pay your bills, and you're not able to put food on the table, you don't have an opportunity to do QLA. So this is how I started, because I didn't have any money. Some of the kids have done this. But if you got a job, keep it. You can work a job and QLA at the same time. Andrews Milner did it for a year and a half. We had 60-hour-a-week job, 60-hour-a-week QLA, Josh Kim, and a lot of the other guys have done it. If you're in the military, you can do QLA. If you're a student, you can do QLA. But I tell more students, if you're not in your last classes of being a student, get out and do it. Of course, you got to support yourself. Unfortunately, most students then wind up living at home, which can be very detrimental to your QLA march, because in general, parents are not going to be supportive. In general, some are, but most aren't. Once in a while, parents will like it so much and say, well, we'll support you the next couple of years. That doesn't happen very often, but it has happened. And, when it first happened, it's like, is this a trick? Fuck, why, But some parents, really do mean, I support anything you want. They really do mean that. Most don't. That's just a fucking lie, But, and remember, my parents only had one goal for me, to keep me alive to the age of reason. My dad didn't know if it was going to be 15, 20, 30, 40. Some people say I'm still haven't reached the age of reason. But monetarily, I mean, I wasn't supported. But by the same token, until my mother moved here and died here, I never gave any money to my parents or anybody in the family. And they didn't ask. Any questions? I want to hand it out. Yep.
This sheet is for US. Is it applicable for UK?
Well, no. It depends. Most industries have roughly the same spreads. Whether it's now in Russia and a few other places, it's not. But I mean, construction, property, medicine, it's about the same, plus or minus 5%. Plus or minus 5%. So close enough for government work. Close enough for government work. And and my kids, you guys have produced. Now I produced the quality of earnings, but I mean you guys produced that chart. During the hardcore a couple of years ago, we put together a bunch of stats and said it wouldn't be useful if we knew what the spread was. And I said I guess it would. So they produced it and we double checked it, and it's accurate. And so we give it to you guys as an extra tool. Extra tool. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Can you explain what is this quality of earnings and how do we use it?
I thought I did explain. Okay, the quality of earnings. Okay, I wish my Spanish was good enough. But the quality of earnings come into play basically two times. One, when you go to a commercial bank. Now, the old 84-year-old lady is going to be interested in this quality of earnings. When you go to a commercial bank, and whether you're doing 100% finance, 120% finance, or 50% finance, they're going to want to know, are you capable, do you have the ability within the organization, the unit that you're buying, to pay back the debt on time? So are the earnings that the debt is going to come from enough to pay your debt payment? That's one question, but they look at 145 things. Because really, 145 things will affect whether you can pay. The second time it comes into use is when the accountants, now the bank will do their own quality of earnings, and the accountants will do another quality of earnings when you're going to do an audit, etc. Now, the bank, if they believe and trust and have done work with the accounting firm, will accept the accounting firm's quality of earnings. These are BDO quality of earnings for a healthcare deal on Florida, I think, in Florida. And so, I mean, BDO owns that market more or less, and so they accept it readily. They don't ask. They even accept it in Georgia, I'm told. I can't prove that, but okay. So that's what you use it for. As they're going through, and by the way, when they say they're going to audit you, we don't audit acquisition candidates. Audit is when they check every third or fourth invoice, every third or fourth piece of paper, etc. And on hundreds and millions of dollar acquisitions, they check every 50th piece of paper. Okay, there's an audit, a review, and a compilation that you can get the accountants to do. They will put their name on all of them. An audit is the only thing that's worth a shit. A review is they're reviewing the numbers that you give them, like your spreadsheet shit. Okay, that's a review. A compilation is the lowest on the totem pole. A compilation may or may not be all the numbers. It's the numbers that you choose to give them to review, and it's worth next to nothing, other than it's on the accounting firm stationery. And I'm not saying you use this to trick people. But many person unsuspecting has been tricked because it's got the logo of BDO or PwC. This quality of earnings is neither of those. This quality of earnings are select data points that they pick out that they know will be instrumental in allowing you to have the money to pay or not pay debt service. And it's not like 80%, 92%. It's either you fail or you pass. Credit failed, that's it. And you want them to give you the information as soon as they're into it and it may take 2 weeks or it may take 5 days, depending on the size of the organization. You want to know if there's any shit that may come up. Because a lot of times you can cure it on the spot. Meaning fix it on the spot. But once the report's out, you're fucked. There's no curing. You can't fix it. You can't go back retrospectively and fix it. That's why I tell the kids, always ask. It also stops the billing if it's not going to go through and they're 1/3 through and you can't cure it. Why are you going to spend the other amount of money? And you're going to get ours. You're going to get the QLA one. And it's about 100 questions. And they're very similar to these. But they're more a combination of the legal side, quality of earnings. Do they have the contract? Do they really own the building? I've had you kids buy shit when they're going to buy the building. You know, I told them not. They think they buy the building and they don't own it. I mean, how ignorant, well, we know how ignorant they can be. Or they've got a 25-year lease and it expired last year. Don't buy the building. It's a lot easier. Lease it. And there's been people that have been in the building 6, 7, 8 years. You're going to lease it from, and they can't produce the master lease because they haven't paid the master lease, and somehow it slipped through the crack, and the big commercial owner shows up. What are you doing here? And when you close on a Friday, a lot of people like to close on Friday. You change the bank shit Friday morning as they're signing the papers. You change the codes, passwords, everything. And you sleep there Friday night. They don't have any beds for you. Medical offices, dental, mortuary. You show up Monday morning, the cupboards are empty. The cupboards are empty. And if you haven't changed the passwords, all the bank accounts are empty. The veterinarian guy, the lawyer, who's smarter than this, right? Criminal lawyer. They closed on Thursday. He shows up on Monday, and the only thing they didn't take were the pets in the little cages that hadn't been fed all weekend. Bulldogs, I think. In the old days, and I'm old enough, you could close on Friday and expect the shit to be there on Monday. And the ethnicities that the Viking bitch was alluding to, armed guards you need. They'll pull up to the back, these big super trucks, 40-wheelers. They'll take the tile on the floor, the light fixtures, the toilets. And then you show up, well, I didn't know we bought it this way. Really, when I see you guys going through these clothes, it makes me chuckle, how innocent babes. You're bored, guys, and you should involve your board when you're moving in. They'll tell you, a lot, well, they're old, they don't want to bother them over the weekend. Fuck that. I mean, they'll tell you, I say, oh, man, especially in construction when they steal everything. I mean, even the wire, the copper wire in the wire. Oh, fuck. And I don't miss that. I wouldn't wish that. Now, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but, okay, so that's what you use it for. Did I answer your question? Okay. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
You say that we don't want to audit the acquisition candidates?
No.
We do.
Okay, no. When you do your due diligence, that is not an audit. When you do your due diligence, an audit is when you're really an audit's not anything unless you're doing a due diligence which is similar to a quality of earnings. So they're spot checking. And an audit, they're supposed to do more than spot check, but they still don't check every single document. They don't. They're doing, and on small deals, less than $1 million or $1.5 million, you have the full capability from your board to do a review for purchase. Now, and I told you this a couple of days ago. Some of the guys will say, I haven't been out in the field in 25 years. Well, good. You can join us anyway. You sharpen up your tools. But on a deal that's $1.5 million or larger, you want the accounting firm. And why? Because if you make a mistake on your own, who are you going to sue? Yourself? And if they make a mistake from a big accounting firm, they have deep pockets because they have malpractice insurance. Now, I told you, some of the morons go out when they're recruiting accountants say, oh, I want a big accounting firm so I can sue you because you've got big malpractice insurance. They're that stupid. The current generation are brain dead. But if you're bored, the accountant, the lawyer say, I don't feel comfortable doing that. Don't make them. Make them be with the accounting firm that's doing the review. Let them go along so they can refresh their memory. But having these board members isn't that they're just going to sign up and show up once a year for a board meeting. You're going to work these guys. I mean, you're going to ride them like a rented mule. In this country, there are commercials about save the mules or some shit. And they really pathetically, they're beaten and they're lazy. Not that bad, but a step above that is how you're going to work the directors. Now, you don't wind up for $5 or $10 million for nothing, just for your name. You got to do something. And part of that something is to give you entree to their professional Rolodex. And they will, when they see that you're doing deals. Don't expect it until you've done deals. Who's my 5:30? 6:30. Today we eat in there, which is pretty obvious as you can see through the curtain. I may bring in the puppies, the bulldogs, but I was surprised. I went to my office to read your stuff, and that reminds me. Ace, we need a little more meat. And I looked out of the corner of my eye, I saw the big puppy sleeping next to a little teeny basket, and I looked in and the little puppy was there. And I saw the puppy, Great Dane, which isn't so little, sleeping kind of catty corner. Something's wrong here. Somebody left a little fucking puppy, so I go in and I look around and everybody's asleep. And so Kim said, well, they just getting along like peas in a pod. But the big Great Dane, the adult, the one that killed the deer yesterday, he doesn't have anything to do with the little one yet. But the little one is trying to bite. She can't reach her nipples up here. Bites her tail and her feet. And so then the big Great Dane jumps up on a couch that the little one can't get up on. But so far, so good. And it could be a lot worse, believe me. And she's still, she's only pooed in the house a couple times. But this is good. This is good. Sally's happy. Okay, if nothing else, I'll see you at dinner, and I'll see you at my 5:30 at 5:30. And just somebody look at ukgovernment.co. I forget how. I mean, there's 100 million contracts. Just take a look. I mean, or I don't know if Romania has any contracts. Yeah. But anyway, okay, kids. Thank you.